What is going on out there, peeps? All right, as promised, I told you, I actually said I would do it a few days ago, but I did it right now. I told you guys if there's any kind of news on the Zim dollar, I would come back and do a video on it. Again, it like we talk about with the Vietnam Dong and Iraqi dinar. What you're looking for is stability in the economy. For those you don't know, those old Zim dollars were exchanged a couple years ago. As a matter of fact, when the exchange happened, we let everybody know. We were shocked. Now, what the exchange rate was, whatever they did, we couldn't find the information on it. But I've showed several articles in which the old Zim dollars were no longer any good. But I said hold on to them because you never know. Because there was nothing in the articles that said it was set in stone. I can't say one way or another if they're any good. These are the new dollars that they're using. See these? All right, we're going to talk about these here in a minute. You should be thinking about buying gold and silver, and if you do, consider our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free ½ ounce of silver. We like freebies. For those of you who keep asking me for my address, there it is. And you guys know about this alternative website. Over here, I do post videos, and a lot of you are rushing over to see this, so I'm happy that this information is getting out. You can see this category right here. See it? These things you definitely want to come and check out. The information here is really crazy. Also, for those of you who keep asking me about elections and audits, here you go. I try to post in there at the very minimum every other day. Okay, over here we do talk about what the media keeps attempting to hide from us. This is a good interview by Buzzsaw. There's AJ and April for my live views. And here's your other ones that you guys like. I did get permission from Jamie Deluxe to post his videos. I'll let you guys know because his whole entire platform is on exposing these people, which is really good. So if you guys keep looking for the link, you can see right here. It's real simple. Pimpy's, P-I-M-P-Y-S, Pimpy's News Network.com. And it'll take you to this website where you can come and check out the videos. Alrighty. You guys know I got Pimpy's Investment Chat. It's the same name as the YouTube channel. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. It's free to join. I encourage you to do so, so come on over yonder. Okay? And if you're in the group and you keep looking for that link, I pinned the link. I'm pretty sure I did. Right here. So it says, you want the link to the other platform? See right here, announcements? Just hit view post. And you just click right here, and it should take you over to the platform, okay? All right, so let's get into the Zim, because there is some news. All right, this is just, it's a little, not that old, but a little old. But anyways, look at, they're starting to keep track of the Zim dollar slightly eases against the U.S. dollar. Now, this is older, but even so, we're starting to see this pattern with the Iraqi dinar as well as the Vietnam Dong. And that is, these currencies are gaining now along with the Zimbabwe. Now, baby steps, they are baby steps, but at least it's heading in the right direction. It says the Zimbabwe dollar has eased to trade at 85,000, is that what is that? 85.07 against the US dollar at this week's foreign currency auction from 84.76. According to the data provided, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, after Tuesday's auction, has a total of 34.8 million was awarded to bidders on both the small and medium enterprises and main auctions. According to the RBZ latest update, the total of 345 bids were allotted at the main auctions, while 432 were allotted at the SME auctions. So you can see they're using the auction to keep their currency stable. That's exactly what was going on over there in Iraq. All right, he says on here, as has always been in the past, the bulk of the Forex that company sourced at this week's auction was a critical raw materials procurement, let me get the word out, of 13.8 million from the US 15.9 million last week. Okay, so that's just showing you over here. Look at this: consumable sprays, electronics got 4 million compared to 3.9 million last week, while 2.8 million was allocated to the retail and distribution sectors, food, beverage, amongst other things. So that's a good way to stabilize the dollar. It looks like it's been going on there. Just in, Zimbabwe remains firm to support economic activity. See, that's the kind of stuff we really want to hear over there in Iraq. We know Vietnam is doing a wonderful job. We don't got to worry about them. We know this. They've been stable for some time. As a matter of fact, they've had one of the most booming economies over the past 30 years. But the Zimbabwe has the same issue as Iraq. The corruption, what to do about it. These people coming in and running these countries, sell these countries out, mostly to China, but they sell them out. And in return, what do they get? Oh, well, the politicians get rich while the people stay poor. The Zimbabwe dollar continues to remain firm to support economic activities, trading at 84.76 against the United States dollar at this week's foreign currency exchange system. And it talks about last week it traded at 84.75. Talks about all the qualified dollars and goes on. All this week auctions that was conducted on Tuesday statistically show. So again, at least this is another article. They were like a few days apart, but what I was trying to show is there's a consistency in stability, except for I just erased the other article. So this is good. This is what you want. Okay? This shows you that there is, the U.S. dollar is falling. We know about this. For those of us who talk about gold and silver, we keep an eye on the power of the U.S. dollar. When it rises up, well, usually that's bad news for gold and silver, but when it goes down in value, that's great news for gold and silver. All right, so we keep an eye on the dollar index. So the dollar has been losing, especially over this past year, a lot of its purchasing power. And as you can see, these small increments, whether they're done for the Zimbabwe dollar or the Vietnam dong or the Iraqi dinar, you can see that those currencies are slowly gaining in value against the U.S. dollar as the U.S. dollar slowly goes down in value. The Zim dollar can be converted worldwide according to the Ministry of Finance. Well, that's great news. Deputy Minister of Finance Clarence Chadwell said in Parliament that the Zim dollar is accepted regionally and internationally according to a report. The issue, now see, this is what we need for it to happen for the Iraqi dinar. I mean, really to be on a bigger international scene. The issue of the convertibility and regional or international acceptance of our currency as we speak now. The Zimbabwe dollar is accepted regionally and internationally through the exchange rate. Not every currency is convertible. We are looking at currencies like the US dollar, the euro, the Chinese yuan, and all that. Not every currency can be accepted in every country, which is true. Every country has its own currency, and that is what is being used locally. When you want to do international or regional transactions, then you go to your bank and convert to the accepted currency in that destination. Yeah, that's the thing. If you can get banks in your country to allow you to exchange that currency, that's a good thing. When our banks start allowing us to come in and convert the Vietnam dong as well as the Iraqi dinar at the bank, that's a good thing. When using the exchange rate, it means our currency can be used locally and regionally via the exchange rate. Yeah, well, that kind of makes sense. That's how all currencies work. There is no need for us to come up with a policy position to say we want our currency to be used in the United States. We use the exchange rate. Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Now it says, I don't know about you, but that isn't the clearest answer. So whoever this person is writing this article was expecting a little bit more. To come out and say that the currency is accepted worldwide, then to me that's saying that, hey, you should be able to go into any bank in any country and exchange your currency at its local rate. I don't think that's the case. So I'm not sure how forthright this guy's being. So some of you might know this better than I do. Can you go to your bank now and exchange for Zimbabwe notes? I don't think so. You can't do it for the Iraqi dinar. You used to be able to do it for the Vietnam dong, but that might not be the case anymore in some banks. So it says on here, I don't know about you, but that isn't the clearest answer. It looks like if you want to do international transactions or travel, you'll still have to change your local currency in Zimbabwe before you set off. The deputy minister also didn't state which countries are accepting the Zim dollar, which is important. I'm sure you could look it up on the internet. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's accepted. I might be wrong. Maybe some changes happened that I missed. You guys will let me know down in the comments. Finance Minister Nku said the government had a budget surplus of $9.8 billion in Q1 of 2021. That's actually pretty good. Now that's just over 100 million US dollars. Nice. And that's a lot of money. Yes, it is. So we discuss what the budget surplus is, if it is good or bad thing in Zimbabwe context, and how the government could possibly use all the money. And here's this right here, this interview. And let's give it a try and see if we can hear what they're saying. Hopefully it's in the right language. Here we go.
I'm not totally yawning, but it's an early Sunday morning, and Valentine just decided to wake us up all to record a podcast. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Rufaro, and I'm joined by, since I've already mentioned Valentine, you get to go first for the first time.
You know, you say my name with such disdain. I love it. I'm here for it.
And Ed, as usual, good to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. It feels good to be here. Such an early wake to a podcast.
Yeah, at least it's not too cold today. I know, like some days it's.
I don't know about you, but their energy, there's something about it, man. I feel really really energized. It makes me want to go out and start exercising, man. What a wake up in the morning and listen to these guys. Boy, this energy is just radiating with excitement.
And like super cold, but it's like, well, yeah, that's a different podcast, I guess, ranting about winter. Today we're here to talk about the recently announced budget surplus that happened in Zimbabwe. So essentially, Zimra, they posted their performance report for the first quarter. And we're just here to talk about that. And yeah, so I assume we all read, right, the report. Yeah, it's time to check if people did their homework.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So when I went
we read.
I was like, the first question that came into mind is the opening and the introduction.
Like, where's the money?
It says the government of Zimbabwe launched a new economic blueprint, the National Development Strategy, NDS1, which is running from 2021 to 2025. And this was launched in the first quarter of 2021. So I was like, okay, what is this NDS thing? And they also mentioned a transitional stabilization program, which ran from October 2018 to December 2021. Someone please enlighten me. What are these two things?
The economic plans, economic recovery plans. Like this whole 5-year thing. That they set up 5-year plans, at intervals based on how the economy is supposedly doing or how.
Now remember, Iraq did the same thing. They just set up a 5-year plan. See, when I hear these types of coincidences between these countries, it tells me something's definitely going on. By the way, Biden's getting ready to set up a 5-year plan as well. What the hell is really going on?
They wanted to do. So ZMAS was the first one, and then we got TSP, and then we got NDS1. So NDS1 just basically, I guess if it works, to be honest, and I won't make this rant long, I don't see much of a difference between the Transitional Stabilization Program and NDS1. I mean, the names are different, but yeah, so basically they just want economic growth. I think that it was average of 5% for the next 5 years, which is unlikely to happen in 2021. But you know, who knows? Because of COVID and whatnot. Main fiscal deficits averaging not more than 3% of the GDP. Yeah, lower inflation within SADC, a range between 3 to 7% by 2025. Yeah, if it's possible. So it's basically just an economic plan. It's a very long document. So if you are not a fan of long documents, don't read it, or you should read it, but in stages. If you're a fan of long documents, then yeah, enjoy it. But as again, the rant is why they make these things so long and complicated. I know economics is not the simplest field, but it's just like, give us the public like a distilled version, like a growth point version where we can just talk about with our friends. Hopefully I'll link it so you can go check it out yourself. But yeah, all the very best with that.
Okay, so the government made two plans, one which started in October 2018, ended in December 2021. Then another plan which started in the first quarter of 2021. So now they then announced, hey, Zimbabwe has recorded a $9.8 billion budget surplus. So just from reading that statement or headline, you'll be like, oh, okay, it looks like the plan is working.
Sounds
There's
like
a surplus. But then I guess the question would be, okay, what actually does it mean when there's a budget surplus? Which is just essentially when you have your income being more than your expenses, so you then have money left over. So this usually happens in cases where the finances of the government are being managed pretty well. It's just like in your house, you have your salary that comes in, and then
That's the news you want to hear if you're invested in the currency. That the budget's being managed well, a surplus in your budget. In other words, you're making more money than you're spending.
You have the things that you need to pay for. If you manage to make sure that your expenses are not higher than your salary, then you're doing a good job. But then how does it happen in the case of a government? How does the government get to have a budget surplus?
I don't know.
Or other than the simple one that I just mentioned. I feel like I asked a question that I answered, but then I feel like it's not as simple. It's just, the government is managing its finances really well, so the expenses are lower than the income, or maybe it's that simple.
It is that simple. If you put it in layman's terms, it doesn't matter. The point being, I'll leave this link if you want to come here and listen to the full interview. The point being is that the economy seems to be stable over there, and their currency is slowly but surely catching up to the US dollar, just like the other currencies, because the US dollar continues to drop in value, where other currencies are rising up against it, as long as they continue to do good in managing their own budget. Anyways, you guys, I mean, there's not a lot of news. I only shared what I could find, so my apologies. It's not exciting, but I mean, for some people, this information does mean something, and it should. If you're holding on to the Zim dollars, these ones right here, then you want to hear this news. You want to hear the economy stable. You want to hear it's doing good. You want to hear that it has a surplus. That's perfect. Does this sound familiar? It's happening in Iraq. Yes. These currencies are gaining against the US dollar. If you're invested in these currencies, that's great news. All right? Anyways, that's it for now. You guys, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. I'm out.